Hi, I'm Shristi. In the last video that I did on Angular material design, we added a header at the very top with some tabs. However, the tabs don't do anything. In this video, what I'm going to show you to do is when I click on tab 2, I want to show a separate view down the bottom here in this main content area. We're going to add a form to it, and when we submit the form, I want to show a little toast just to let the user know that the form has been submitted. So let's do that. Just to kick off, I'm going to show you just quickly over in material.angularjs.org. If you go to the tab demo, which you can sort of see on the side here, the tab demo at the moment on this particular page looks at tabs. So obviously, that's what it's about. But it's all inline. So the content for the tab actually sits within the tags for the tab itself. But what happens if you have your content in a separate template? So your content is actually sitting in a separate file. How do you get that to work with your tabs? What I'm going to show you is how you can get that to work using Angular UI Router. And yeah, ideally most of your code for tabs actually sit in separate files already anyway to keep them nice and concise. So let's have a look at how we do that. So I'm going to jump across to WebStorm. So I'll just leave this guy open over here and just show you what that's looking like. All right, so I'm just going to go to modules. Oops, just lost that there. So I'm going to make that smaller. So modules, core, go to client, jump down to views, and I have the header here. So that's what's currently, that's the code that's currently sitting in on the header. Nothing overly fancy going on there. You can grab all of that from the Bossable website if you want it, so you don't have to worry about trying to type it all out really quick. Second thing we'll have a quick look at is the home page, which is this one right here. So this is the home page that's currently being displayed here. We've got a sidebar and we've got a main content area. So what I want to do is I want for this main content area, or this kind of home view, to be what gets displayed when I click on tab 1. And when I click on tab 2, I want to add a new view. So what I've done is just under my views, I've just already gone ahead and added in a new HTML file, just called it contact form. You can call it whatever you like. It won't have an impact on the code as long as the code within it is the same as what I've got. So I'm going to throw in here a div, so div with a flex and layout equals row, and just inside that I'm just going to put h1 tag, and let's just say this is the super duper awesome contact form, and that will go, yeah. All right, so that's what we're going to show there. Now, what I need to do is actually put in a route to this particular view so that we can access it. So just to recap, we've got a heading page, which is at the top. We've got the home page, and we're adding our second tab in now. So to do that, I'm just going to jump to config, go to routes. You can see I've got a route in here at the moment. I'm going to just copy that. Just throw a little dot on the end there so that knows that it's continuing. This is the second route. And we're going to give that a name. Just going to call that contact. The URL is just going to be /contact. And this template URL is just going to be a reference to this view here. All right, so one thing that might trip you up, gets me every time, is that just have a quick look. If you notice the template URL here doesn't include a reference to client, so you just make sure you grab that, pull that out, because that won't be picked up when your routes are being activated. So that's it for the routes. Now what we have to do is tell our tabs to connect into these particular routes. You got to kind of tell them that they are there and they exist. All right, so jump over to my header view. So I've got a tab here. What I'm going to do is just in this tab is add a data UI, that one there, and just this first one is going to be home. Copy that whole directive there. So this is just an Angular UI directive, and at the bottom I'm going to use contact. Now, where did home and contact come from again? They're directly out of the route. So these were the states within our route. The first one's home, second one's contact. That's exactly what we're referring to. If you change this to contact 1, then when you go back to the header, you'd have to change this one here to contact 1 too. So that's basically how it's talking to each other. Just wait for that to refresh. All right, so now when I click on tab 2, cool. So here's my new super duper awesome contact form. This is where it's going to go. So very quick and easy. All we've done is we've added a quick view and we've added a reference to it in the UI routes. However, let me show you something. If you just flick back and forward, you see your tabs are all displaying. But what if I refresh this directly from here? Will the tab 2 stay highlighted? No, it won't. Look, tab 1 is highlighted. And that's because there's actually no connection here between the tab and the actual route. So we're going to tell our view which route it needs to be activated for. And we can do that really quickly just using another material design directive called mdActive. So mdActive equals, and we're going to use a UI router state. So state is, and then in these little brackets within single quotes, we're going to put in, oops, 2 single quotes. We're going to put state is home and copy that and drop that down. And this time state is contact. So this time when we refresh it, we're going to expect that tab 2 will be highlighted. Now, if you have any issues or any errors displaying at this point, just double check that state is actually in your controller. Because I'm using an app that we created previously, I have that set up already. So I can just have a quick look, go to header client controller, and you can see that there's a reference to state here, and down here we've got scope state as well. So that's what's making this piece work. So you can see straight away when the page is refreshed that tab 2 has now been selected. So that's pretty cool. So that's good and well, but now I want to turn this into a contact form. So I want to display a little form here, and I'll do that by, the first thing I'm going to do is center all the content. So I want the form to be exactly centered both horizontally and vertically. Now this is a pain to try and do with CSS, but just have a look at how quick this is with material design. Whoops, I'm just going to jump to the contact form. I've already got a flex with a layout of row. All I have to do is just put in a layout, a line, oops, and get that to equal center, center. That's it. Just save that and just have a look at how easily that just centers the content. There you go. So it's right in the middle, vertically and horizontally. So now I'm going to add a form. So I can get rid of this H1 that's kind of been there just to let me know that it's all working. And we're going to add a form. So just as we normally would, so just form, give it a name, just say contact form, whoops. And I'm gonna, while I'm doing this, I may as well just add the data ng submit. You've probably seen this before. Here, let's say it's the contact form, so we might just do like send mail, and we'll have a method on that. Cool, so that's the form, that's the outline of the form. Now we're just gonna add a couple things to the form. So let's say name, and that's just going to be import, import with the type of text, and at the end of that we're going to have a data ng model, and the model we're just going to call that, say, contact name, and we're going to do that a couple of times, so I can just copy that. 2 and 3. So the second one, say that's email with an input type of email, and contact email will be the model. And the last one will just have a message. Actually, maybe I'll change that to text area. It's going to, don't need type because it's a text area, so we know it's already text. will have the model. I can just change that to contact, say, message. How many columns? We just go just one column, and we'll make this one required, and just close that text area off there. At the bottom of the form, we'll just add a button of type equals submit. And inside the button, we're going to have a label of send. Okay, so that's it. Just really, really basic form. Just going to have that centered in the middle. Cool, so there's a form. Doesn't look so great yet, but just wait, we'll work on that. Next thing I'm going to do is start to jazz it up a little bit. So to jazz it up a little bit, I'm going to kind of bring it in and add a little white frame around it. So there'll be a little sort of frame that sits in the middle here. So let's have a look at that. So just after just at the second row, you can go div flex, actually what I'll do is do it flex small. So when it's small, it's going to sort of take up 100% of the size. When it's flex greater than small, it's going to take up, let's say, 90% of the size. When it's flex greater than medium, get it to take up 70% of the size. And when it's flex greater than large, we'll just make it a bit smaller, so just 50% of the size. And then just add a class. I have this sort of rhythm that I've kind of got myself into now, where I'll put the flexes first, the layout second, and the classes right at the end. If I want to add a controller, I add that directly after the tag. So controller, flex, layout, class is the order that I try and follow, and that's makes it a little bit easier for me to find stuff quickly. So we're going to add a white frame. Oh, there we go. We've got some selections, which is pretty handy. Just go with that one there. And grab that div and pop that just after the form like that. Save that. You start to see a little bit of that white frame appear. Cool. But you see how it's kind of all the way at the edge. So we're just going to add a little bit of padding to that. To do that, I'm just going to go MD content and class MD padding, and just grab that, and again, just put that around the form. Just going to align that there. So there we go. So MD content, just a little bit of padding around that too. So have a quick look at that. Okay, so that's a little bit better, but it's still not really material design, right? So to do that, let's have a quick look at some inputs for material design. They start to look a little bit neater. They've got this MD input container and these label tags around them. So I'm just going to add a few of those really quickly too. So start off with the first one. Actually, I can just copy it from here. It'll save me from having to type it. So basically around everything, we're going to and once I've got that, just put some labels. Like so. Don't stress if you're trying to keep up. I will share this code so you can easily have a look at it later on. So again, I'm just gonna get that to look nice and pretty. Okay, so I think that didn't align, but that's okay. So that should do. Let's have another look. Okay, so our form's starting to look like a form, and our button's a little bit ragged because we haven't done anything with that yet. So to do that, we're just going to, you can have a quick look actually. If you're not sure, you can have a quick look at buttons. There's all kinds of classes and different things that you can apply to the buttons here. So we can do that really quick. Just want to change that to MD button. Really liking the new version of WebStorm that will change my closing tag for me. That's pretty cool. So we've got MD button, we've got a type of submit. I want to add a few classes to this. So class is going to be MD primary, which will just give it a slightly bluey kind of color like that one there. And I'm going to add an NG class as well. So when the form is ready to be submitted, I want the button to actually change. So NG class, and inside this, I'm going to do these thingies, and go to MD raised MD hue1, and it's going to be these things when the contact form, which is that guy there, contact form is either dirty and dirty means that it's actually being changed, or it's being used in some way, and it's actually also valid. So all the required fields have actually been filled in as well. So what I might do is just throw that into brackets just to keep that neatly contained, and that should just about do it. So look at that. Cool. So there's the send now. When there's data in all of these, say jane@gmail.com, hi, you can see that the send is now nice and highlighted, but it doesn't do anything yet, so we'll need to add a controller to it too, and map that back to our controller file. So at the top, I'm just going to add a controller, so I'd like to do that first. So data ng controller, just kind of call that contact form controller as CF, which is just contact form. Copy that and just plug that before that guy there and before the models as well, so that we can use this when we're referring to it. This is a good habit to get into because it looks like Angular 2 is going to help you build on some of these kind of principles as well. Okay, so that's good. Now I need a controller. I have added a blank controller file over here. Nothing in it at the moment, but this will fill up pretty quickly. To kick it off, we can just start with a controller that you've got. So you can just grab the data for a controller, and I'm just going to paste that here. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger because like that. Can get rid of everything here and get rid of everything here, and make sure that we close everything off. That and that and that, and one of those should do that. Okay, so let's do this. So before we do anything else, we need to add a couple things in here. We need to add our MD toast. Oops. And you can see that in the example. So just jump across to the toast example here. Have a look at the source and just go to, if you go to JS, you can see that there's two things that we're going to need. We need toast and we're going to need animate. So we can grab both of those, copy them in, and just make sure you got the single quotes around these guys like that. Okay, so now I want to actually create a toast. So I can actually just copy most of what's in here and we'll just change it up a little bit. So just copy most of that. I'll just stop maybe around there. Okay, it looks like that. We can get rid of most of this. So we'll keep that. That tells us where we want to position our toast. It's actually just goes looking for that. I'll get rid of the custom one. We're just going to have a simple toast, and I'll get rid of, where is that, and get rid of that one too. And I'm sure I have missed a single quote somewhere, so I'll just close that off there like that. Cool. So so that's pretty much all we really need to do. But what we want to do is just kind of map these two things together, the contact form and the controller. So just going to grab this one here, send mail, and change that to that there. Instead of scope, I'm going to use this, so this dot send mail. And I'm going to just change up the message a little bit too. So I'm going to say thanks for your message. Get rid of that, just put a bit of space. This dot, just double check what our contact name was. Okay, there. So this dot contact name plus you. Let's say you rock. Cool, just like that. So that's kind of it. We can change the delay too, so you can leave that up for a little bit longer if you want to. So again, if you want to change this around, so instead of having it at the top and on the right, you could move it to the left and to the bottom just by changing these true and false values. That's pretty cool. Let's test it out. Let's jump back to it here. All right, so it didn't like something. So let me have a quick look at what it didn't like. Okay, cool. I haven't actually referred to the contact form. Gosh, I copied and pasted it, but I didn't refer to it, of course. So let's just make sure that that doesn't refer to the header. It refers to the contact form controller. Let that refresh. Hopefully that picks it up this time. Make that a little bit bigger so we can see it. Okay, so here's our contact form. Let's say Jane at email.com. Hi, Lou. Okay, I'll just go hi. Right, so let's hit send. There you go. Thanks for your message, Jane. You rock. So we've been able to pass the data through, show the toast. Cool. So we've got a tab. We've got a tab working. We've got a contact form. We've got a controller. When we press the button on the controller, we show the toast. Look, I hope that helped. I'll have this all written up so you can get access to the code over on vossable.com. Watch out for the link. Have it up in the next couple of days. Let me know what you think. Are you working on material design? How's it going for you? There have been some breaking changes between 0.8 and 0.9. The next release is supposed to come out this week. So if there are any updates, I'll make them directly to the post. It's a little bit different to Bootstrap, very different actually, but it's kind of cool. It's pretty fun to work with, and I hope you're enjoying getting to know material design. That's it from me. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out vossable.com for more details, and I'll see you again soon.